Hello. Hello, everyone. How is everybody doing? Welcome to yet another Cambly Live. Today, we're trying out something new. We're trying out a new day, and we're hoping that you like it. Now, if you do like it, remember to like and comment and share. We're going to wait a few moments just before we begin to let other students have a chance and the time to join in and participate in this lesson. But in the meantime, how is everybody doing? Tell me, guys, how are you? Where are you from? I see some regulars now. I see Kalipan. I see Napa. I do remember you guys. How have you been? It's been a while, but I'm so happy to see you guys here. It's so great to have you. I see Thomas, who is, I think, Swiss. Okay, interesting. I don't think we have many students from Switzerland, but that's amazing. Sarah from Istanbul. Awesome, Sarah. I have a lot of students from Turkey, and I love them. They're really, really cool. So from Qatar, I see Darinella, I think. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but greetings to Qatar. How is everybody else doing? I also see Madhivalapa from India. Awesome guys. Awesome guys from Sri Lanka and from Iraq. My regular students, like Kalipan says. Nitin, hello. Hi guys. Ashen, Sandra from Guatemala. Okay, so that's actually Sandra. You can say Darren. Okay, thank you, Darren. And it's a pleasure to meet you guys. I see that everyone is nice and ready to participate. Okay, so who else is here? From Bangladesh. Excellent, excellent, Bangladesh. I have some students from Bangladesh, but not too many actually. Sylvia Epstein. Hi, hi. Excellent. It's awesome to see so many of you guys here. It's awesome to see so many people joining us from different parts of the world. Remember, guys, the more you share, the more you comment, the more you like our videos, the better it is for everyone because we get the support. We know that you guys like the video, and that way we can, of course, keep on making more. All right. I see somebody from Pakistan, RPG Plays, of course. Marilyn from South Africa. Awesome. Awesome. Sylvia from NYC. That's cool. I imagine you're living in NYC. I am from New York as well. Konchi from Japan. Awesome. Awesome. Santosh from Nepal. Cool. Shomo from Mauritius. And Andrew from the Ukraine. Awesome. I also have some students from the Ukraine. That's awesome to see, guys. Excellent. Sylvia lives in Queens. I am a Bronx guy. I grew up in the Bronx and, I miss it. Actually, right now, I don't live in New York anymore. It's gotten quite expensive, and I'm traveling the world a little bit. Xi Ramanov says from Uzbekistan. Awesome, awesome. And some other people from Bangladesh. All right, that means that there's a lot of people from Bangladesh. That's really cool. Excellent. So, guys, as you know, we are covering a very interesting topic today. We are covering something that is sometimes represented as S+V+O. What is that? Do any of you guys know? S+V+O. What is that? What do you think it could mean? It actually has a very simple explanation, and it's one of the most important rules of English grammar, okay? Really. It may seem like some weird formula, but it's an extremely, extremely, extremely important rule. So Sarah says subject, verb, object. What do you think, guys? Is that correct? Saeed says subject, verb, object. All right, very good, very, very good. So you guys are completely right. Subject, verb, object. Malik also says subject, verb, object. Subject, verb, object. By the way, guys, can you see this? Is it the right way around? Is it clear? If not, tell me so I can flip it. Sometimes YouTube flips it for some reason. I'm not sure why, actually. But subject, verb, object. Can you guys see? Is this a good size? Perfect. Awesome. So subject, verb, object. Tell me, you guys, also if it's a little too small or something like that. And if you guys can't see, I'll just bring it closer, or I'll just move the mic. Okay? So subject, verb, object. Now, what is that? It is actually one of the most important rules of grammar in the English language. All right? The most important rule. Okay? Now, all of you guys speak different languages. For example, in the Ukraine, you speak Ukrainian or Russian, Arabic, or I saw some people that can speak Arabic in there. I see many different languages. Now, let's start with something relatively easy. The verb. What is a verb? Can any of you guys explain what a verb is? Because, it may seem simple, but it's really important to understand what it actually is. So what is a verb? How can we explain it? How can we define it? Okay. I'm going to give you guys a little moment to think about it, and then you're going to tell me. I see a lot of more people joining us. That's awesome. It's great to see everyone joining in and participating. Napa says it's something that you do. Marilyn, doing word. Okay. Said says it's an action. Kaliban says a word used to describe an action, state, or occurrence and forming the main part. Okay, good. That's kind of enough, right? Andrew says words have action. So you guys are sort of saying similar things. And the most important part of a verb that most of you guys said is it's an action. It's something that happens, right? Sometimes it happens by itself, and sometimes it's an action that we do, right? There are many thousands of actions that we can talk about. But yes, it's correct. You guys are spot on. They are actions, okay? So if it's an action in a sentence, it's usually a verb, okay? Now, let's hear some examples of verbs just to make sure that you guys have it really clear. Like I said, there are thousands of verbs, there's thousands of examples, and you guys can surely explain them, okay? Or give me some examples. What are some examples of a verb? You can be, you can tell me some very difficult ones or some very simple ones. Come on, tell me. Sylvia says, I eat. Okay, right. So, well, she says, I eat breakfast now. So what is the verb in that sentence? What do you guys think is the verb in the sentence, I eat breakfast? Darren says, eat. Of course, eat. Right? Napa says, I am attending your class. Very good. So am is the verb. He is playing football. Playing, says Saeed. Very good. Very good. Thomas says, eating. It for all says eat. Perfect. Excellent. So all of you guys have it very clear. Eat. Eat is the verb in that particular sentence. What other verbs can you guys think of? Tell me some other examples of verbs. All right. So somebody said playing. Malik. Very good. Very good. And I saw someone, Saeed, also said playing. So playing is a verb. Excellent. Andrew says participate. Participate is a verb, of course. Excellent. These are examples of verbs. What other verbs can you guys think of? Walk, walking, it says Napa. Excellent. It for all says play, do, go, say. Very good. Very good. Excellent. All of these are excellent examples. Okay. Dancing, put, to dance or to put, to watch, of course. Very good, guys. So all of those are verbs. So I think you guys got it pretty clear, right? But let's go back to the simple verb that we saw before. Let's talk about the verb to eat. Now, I'm intentionally not showing you everything yet, but when we say eat, like I eat, it's very simple, right? But think about how you say it in your language. Like I said, I saw some people who speak Ukrainian, Russian, Arabic. In your languages, you have something, and we also have something that is called conjugation. Now, what does that mean? What is conjugation? Right? Think about it, like I said, in your own language. If you speak Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, French, Arabic, Russian, Ukrainian, even in some situations Chinese, you conjugate the verb according to the situation, right? The verb changes depending on some things in the sentence, okay? Do you guys understand that? Do you guys understand the idea of conjugation? Like I said, think about it if you need in your own languages where there are many examples. Okay. So conjugation is when verbs change depending on the context, right? Or what we want to communicate. Kalipan says, because of the time of when the incident happened. Right. For example, if we say something in the past or in the future, the verb changes, at least a little bit, okay? And like I said, that happens very, very clearly in many languages, okay? However, in English, many verbs don't change so much. You see that? When we say eat, you say I eat, you eat, we eat, they eat. In the simple present, they're almost all the same. They don't change so much, right? Why is that? Well, this is something that is called an inflection, all right? You don't have to memorize it. You don't have to learn the tricky word, but that's what it's called. When a word changes, depending on the context or depending on the meaning, it's called an inflection. I'm just going to put it up here just in case you guys want to Google it or research a little bit more about it, right? And in verbs, inflections are called conjugations, right? So, why is this important? Well, I want you to see that if we just have the word eat, you can't really understand what we're talking about, right? If I say eat, who am I talking about? It can be I, it can be you, it can be we, it can be they, right? So if I only say eat, it's not clear. It's not understandable. This is the reason why in English we always have to include I, you, we, they, he, whatever, okay? In the simple present, the only exception is with the third person in the singular. He, she, it. We say eats, right? So yeah, it becomes a little confusing because this is the only exception, but all of the others stay the same. But that is the most important, let's say, idea. When we speak in English, verbs don't change so much, so we really, really, really need the subject to make it clear who we're talking about, okay? Very good. Kakper says, when you have he, she, it, then you add s, es, or is. There are some rules, but they ain't that hard to learn. Right, very good. When we have the third person in the singular, he, she, it, we add an s to the verb. That is the only time it changes, and it only happens actually in the present, okay? So this only happens in the present. But if we're speaking about the past or the future, all of them stay the same no matter who is doing the action. All right? Excellent. Any questions there? No, I think not, right? Irregular verbs, do you mean it for all? Okay, irregular verbs are a little bit different. We're talking about regular verbs for now because they are like the standard for the language. Irregular verbs are called irregular because they change, they don't follow the rules. So an irregular verb can change very differently when it's in the past, right? For example, eat is an irregular verb. So we don't say I eated, we say I ate, right? I ate. But check this out. Even when we're talking in the past, they're all the same. I ate, you ate, we ate, they ate, he ate, right? So again, this is only an exception in the present, okay? If it's not in the present, then it's not a big deal. and we don't really have to worry about it. So only in the present. Okay? Only in the present. Now, again, in the past, we would say I ate, you ate, we ate, they ate, he ate. So it would be really confusing if we didn't have the person. We always need to add the person, right? The person doing the action. That is what makes it clear. That is what gives it meaning, okay? Kalipan asks, so when we add s to verb, it's also in present tense, right? Yes, only in the present tense with the third person, he, she, it. We only do it in the third person singular. Andrew asks, what about eaten? Eaten is the participle form of the verb. Verbs have three forms, okay? The infinitive, the past, or rather the simple present, the past, and the participle form. So eat, ate, and eaten. We use the participle forms for present perfect, but we're not going to get into that right now. Remember, guys, we actually have a lesson on present perfect that you can watch on our Cambly YouTube channel. And remember, if you don't understand something that I say, if it's a little bit difficult, or if you just want to practice or share it with your friends, which would be amazing, you can rewatch it at any time you like. Okay, so if you missed the beginning, if it's not clear, rewatch it. We always upload it to our YouTube channel. Okay, and also keep an eye out for our social media, where we also share important clips and tips and full classes sometimes. Okay, so thank you. All right, very, very good. So that is what happens with verbs. So because sometimes verbs are not the most clear, we need the person. Okay, I, you, we, they, he, etc. Right? It's not a big deal as long as we include the person, and that is our subject. Okay, the person in this case is our subject, and of course, then we have the verb. With a simple sentence like I eat, we have our subject and our verb. I eat. Okay? That is why this formula is quite important. Okay? Subject plus verb. I eat, you eat, we eat. Okay? That is why it's such an important formula. It's always necessary to have a verb with a subject, or else it's not clear. Okay? Now, let's explain subjects and objects a little bit more, because maybe they're not so clear. So what is a subject and an object? What do you guys think it is? Before we explain a subject and object, actually, we have to explain what a noun is. But fortunately, nouns are actually quite simple. So, noun. What is a noun? What do you guys think? Can any of you guys give me any examples of what a noun is? Okay. The subject is someone, object is something. Not exactly, Napa. We'll explain in a moment. Don't worry. Andrew says an apple. Sylvia says things, like a table. Kalipan says a word other than a pronoun used to identify any class of things. Right. So that's the easiest word to explain a noun. Things. It's a thing. That's it. You know? It can be, like Darren says, computer, phone, pen, book, any number of things. Right? Hafiz says name of anything. And person which has its own meaning without any tense. Yes, exactly. It has its own meaning. It's always the same thing. For example, a marker is always a marker. Tape is always tape. This is tape. This is a marker. This is a watch. My hand, my glasses. I can grab my phone, my mug, right? Those are things. So most things are noun, or rather all things are nouns, even things that are not physical. Okay. Things can exist and not be physical. For example, think of a document or an email. You can't touch it, you can't grab it, but it's still a noun. It's still a thing, right? A face is a noun. You can even say a dream is a noun. Okay? All things, whether they're physical or not physical, if it's a thing, it's a noun. Yusuf says, my book, my watch, exactly. Right? Very good. So, what is near you guys? What nouns can you see right where you are? In your room, in your work? I don't know if you're, in a coffee shop. What nouns are near you right now? What can you tell me that is a noun? And I'll tell you if you're right. Give me some nouns, you guys. Tell me, what nouns can you see that are near you right now? Kalipan says printer, a picture, and her mobile, like her mobile phone. Sylvia says, my body, it's a noun. Exactly, Sylvia. Yes, your body is a noun. Humans are nouns, people, right? Darren says, mouse, mirror, nail polish, perfect. Napa says, a phone, table, bed, fork. Darren. Okay. Hair tie, a tattoo is a noun. Perfect. Yes, capper. Gun, helicopter, drone, all physical things, live or not alive. Right. So remember, guys, that's correct. Physical things that are alive or not alive. But we also have things that are not physical, like a dream, like an email, right? They are also nouns. Book, monitor, table, computer says it for all. Very good. Hafiz says pen, book, all are nouns. And he includes John or Islamabad, which are proper nouns. Very good. Right? Said says the AC, mirror, cap, perfume, bottle. Very good. Darren says air, sun, rain. Excellent. Casper, my name is confused. Okay, don't worry, Casper. I'll make sure to remember that. Thank you, Casper. But yes, that's correct. Mugs, window frames, house, says Sylvia. Napa, a nightmare. Yes, a nightmare is also a noun. It's actually called a compound noun. And if you want more explanations on what a noun is, I actually made a video especially for Cambly that explains what a noun is in a little bit more detail, and you can watch it on our Cambly channel, on the YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, and share it with your friends to make sure that you're really studying and everyone around you has the opportunity to see those videos as well. All right, so very good. I think you guys understand very well what a noun is, and you've given me a lot of examples. But why does this matter? Well, the thing is that nouns can be in a sentence in grammar either the subject or the object. Okay. Oop, I want to make it straight. Okay. The subject or the object. Now, a few minutes ago, someone was saying subject is a person and object is, like a thing. Not really. Okay. A noun can be subject or an object. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. It matters what we mean. Let's say the function or our intention. Okay. Think of I eat. If I say I eat, I am the subject. Okay. And eat is the verb. But what if I say the dog eats? Is the dog a subject? Yes. Subject is basically anything that does the action, right? The main, let's say, thing of a sentence, the main, what we call agent, okay? So everything really depends on the subject, even the verb, because the verb has to follow the subject, right? And we have to obey the subject. If the subject changes, other things in the sentence can change. So the subject is one of the most important parts of the sentence. The simple way to explain it is that the subject is doing the action. The subject is the, like the head of the sentence. So I eat, the dog eats, John eats, they eat, we eat, right? It can be people, or it can be animals, or it can be things. That's very important. A subject is any noun, okay? As long as it's a noun, it can be a subject, okay? For example, we can say, the dog runs, right? And the dog is the subject, runs is the verb, okay? Always, always, always in that order. Remember, guys, we're talking about subject, then verb, then object. This order is the magic formula to understand a sentence. First, the subject that is doing the action, all right? So, what other things can you think about? What sentences can you make where a thing is the subject? For example, we can say, the table is nice. We could say, the ball falls down, right? The ball is the subject and falls down is our verb. In this case, a phrasal verb, but still a verb. The ball falls down. The car drives fast, okay? The car is the subject, drives is the verb. What other sentences like this can you give me? Remember, where the subject is not a person, but an object, just anything. The car crashed. There you go, Napa. Perfect. Perfect. The car crashed. The car is the subject. Crash is the verb. So the car crashed. We're describing the subject and the action, right? Who did the action? The car. Or what did the action? The car. And what was the action? It was crashing. All right. Very, very, very good. Sylvia says the balloon is hanging. Very good. Nice. Yeah. Balloon is. It exists over there. That's the action. Oh, I have a little string here. Andrew says the finger hurts, or my finger hurts. It could also be. Very good. My finger hurts. Yes, it's the action. It feels pain. The horse runs, says Hafiz. The sparrow flies. Right. Very good. Said says snake killed. So it could be two things. The snake killed something, right? For example, the snake killed a mouse, or the snake died. But yes, you see, we're not talking about people. We're talking about animals and objects, cars, balloons, fingers, right? And in this case, they are still the subject, okay? Fiona the hurricane. Okay, well, you could, for example, just say the hurricane hit Puerto Rico, right? I think you can see the hurricane hit Puerto Rico. The hurricane is the subject, hit is the verb, okay? The girl danced nicely. Perfect. Although that is a human, of course, the girl danced, right? A very, 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 very good. So I think you guys understand that any noun can be a subject, all right? And sometimes they can also be objects, although objects are a little bit more complex. But before we get into that, we're going to explain why this is such an important structure. Okay, remember, this is the order that we speak in. English is something that's called an analytical language, okay? That means that we do not have these types of changes in conjugations. We actually depend a lot on the order of our words, which is why this formula is so important. Everything that I was explaining about conjugation and changing and stuff like that is because languages are sometimes very different. English does not have such a complex form of conjugation like Spanish, for example, or Italian or Portuguese, or Arabic that has very, very complicated conjugation. These languages, through conjugation, you don't need the subject sometimes. You can just say it in one word, but we don't have that. English, for better or for worse, is kind of simple. It's kind of, limited. And that's why the order of the elements is very important. These orders do not change, guys. You never put the verb first. You never put the object first. Okay? It always is like this: subject, verb, object. Okay? Always, always. So it's like the first space, the second space, and the third space. Whatever you put in the first space in this position will be a subject, if it's a noun, of course. Whatever you put in this position, if it's an action, it will clearly be a verb. Okay, so for us, the order is extremely important and it doesn't change. Okay. Okay, I see that there was a little power outage. Don't worry, Kalipan, you can review the class, and anyone who didn't listen to everything we were saying, if you arrived late, don't worry. You can rewatch the full lesson on our Cambly YouTube channel, and remember to subscribe, like, and share with your friends, of course, for any time that you want to study that. All right, so English is an analytical language. Like I said, that just means that the order is extremely important. Anything in the first position, if it's a noun, has to be a subject, okay? So think of this little example that I gave you. Subject is the thing or person doing the action, verb is the action, and the object is the thing that is usually receiving the action or is complementing the sentence, okay? We're going to explain objects in a minute, right? A little bit more deeply, but that's the main idea. Subject, thing that does the action, the verb is the action, and the object is the thing that receives the action, or let's say complements the sentence. We could just say it's the rest, the other part of the sentence. These are the very, very specific, clear elements that never change. Napa says, yes, right. From a person who speaks Arabic and Spanish, totally agree. Thank you, Napa. Thank you. That's what I mean. For example, Napa can tell us that in the verb to eat, which in Spanish is comer, they all change depending on the person. Como, comes, comemos, comen, etc. So because all of them are different, you don't need the pronoun because it's clear, right? But not in English. We always need the pronoun. We always need to have a clear subject, okay? Excellent. If you guys have any questions until now, please ask them, and we're going to try to answer them, all right? Tell me any questions that you have while I repeat. Subject, verb, object, always in this order, right? Doing the action, subject, the action, verb, and receiving the action or complementing the sentence, object. So for example, in this sentence, it's actually very, very simple. And I think most of you guys can understand. If I say Andy ate cereal, what is the subject? What do you guys think? What is the subject? All right. What do you guys think? If I say Andy ate cereal, what is the subject? Sylvia and somebody from Japan. Andy. Napa says Andy. Darren says Andy. Very, very, very good. Said says Andy. Darren says Andy. Excellent, excellent. The subject is Andy. Remember, guys, the subject is the person or thing doing the action, okay? So in this case, it's Andy. Kalipan, Andy. Arabic is also says Arabic is also complicated. There are many. Very good. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about, right? Shazia says Andy. Khalip All says Andy. Hafiz says yes. Andy is the subject. Excellent. So the subject, Andy, is doing what action? What is the verb in this sentence? What do you guys think? If we know that Andy is a subject, what is the verb? What do you guys think? What is the verb in our sentence? Eat is the verb. Hafiz says eating is the verb. Kalipan, ate. Excellent, excellent. Ate. Napa also says ate. It for all says ate. Johnny says ate. Sandra says ate. Darren says to eat. Yes. So all of them, you understand, it's this part. It is, let me just move this a little bit. Yes. So all of you guys understand subject, verb, and, well, what do you guys think is the object? Even through elimination, you can understand what is the object in this sentence, right? So what do you guys think is the object in this sentence? It's obvious, right? Okay. Obviously, yes. Hafiz says cereal. Very good. Very, 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 very good. Sylvia says cereal. All of you guys are going to say cereal. It's very obvious. But as you can see, subject, verb, object, it has to be like this. The first noun is typically the subject because it's the noun that does the action. Then we have the action. Then we have what is receiving the action or our complement. It is always like this, okay? It is always first the subject, then the verb, then the object. But let's get into something that's a little bit more difficult. If I have this sentence that says, making it straight for you guys, okay. Billy bit the dog. What is the subject? In this sentence, Billy bit the dog, what is the subject? What do you guys think? Billy bit the dog. Napa says Billy. A friend from Japan says Billy. It for all says Billy. Kalipan says Billy. All right. Sandra, Darren. Very good. Sylvia, all of you guys are saying Billy. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure it's Billy? What do you guys think? Is it Billy? Napa says yes. Saeed says Billy and dog. Shazia says Billy is subject. Guys, it's Billy. Okay? Remember, Billy is the first noun. It's a proper noun. It's a name, but it's still a noun. Okay? So because it's the first one, it has to be our subject. It has to be. Remember, it's not about what it is. It's about the position. Okay? So Billy, of course, is the subject. What is the verb in here, guys? What do you guys think is the verb? Right? Excellent. Bit. Darren says, why are you confusing us? I am not confusing you guys. You guys have to be sure. You guys have to be really, 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 really sure. The first noun is the subject, always, no matter what it is, all right? Always. So don't doubt yourselves, guys. Don't doubt, even if someone says you're sure. When we ask you're sure, it doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means that you should be sure, or we're asking you if you should be sure. So Billy bit, right? That is the subject. That is the verb. Okay. Now, what is the object? Of course, by elimination, and because it's the only thing left, the dog, of course. The dog is the object. Okay. Billy bit the dog. Billy is a boy. Bit is the action. And who received the action? The dog. Okay. So this means that a boy bit a dog, which is weird, but that's what this means. And this is why Kalipan is asking, but dog bit Billy, what? Like, it's confusing. Well, this is why the order is so important. How is it possible? Napa says, shouldn't it be the dog bit Billy? Exactly. Right? If we change the order, we change the meaning. Okay? So if I say Billy bit the dog, it means that the boy bit the dog, which is weird. But it could be true. Like, grammatically, it's correct. If I say the dog bit Billy, then the dog bit the boy, right? Maybe he attacked the boy or something, or maybe he was playing. Let's say they were playing. The order of words is extremely important, okay? And the order of words determines the meaning in our language because it's analytical, okay? Darren says, maybe Billy is a psycho. Maybe. But you see, this is why order is so important. This is why I wanted to show you guys like that. Because if we change it, the meaning changes. Okay? Napa said, shouldn't it be the dog bit Billy? Of course, in this sentence, where the dog is the subject and bit Billy, of course, the dog is the thing that is doing the action. Bite is the action. And Billy is the one receiving the action, the object. Yeah? Now, we're saying bit because it's in the past. Bite is in the present. B-I-T-E. Bite is in the present. I'm just going to write it here really quick. Bite present. Bit past. Okay. So yes, you guys, it's basically correct what you guys are saying. That it's weird. The first sentence is weird, but that's why it's important. That's why we said it like this, because the order changes the meaning in English. And the first noun, no matter what, is our subject. So if I put Billy here in the first position, it means that Billy, like Darren says, is the crazy one, okay? Billy is doing the action. If I put it in this order, that is why we have to be careful in English with our order. If we change the order, the dog bit Billy, the meaning is completely different, okay? We can never put the object in the beginning. Bashi asks, what is the difference between bite and bit? We just said it. It's the present and the past. And remember, Bashi, that if you didn't hear that or if you didn't understand, you can review the whole video or just that clip whenever you like. We upload all our lessons and you can watch them on the Cambly YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. Okay? Napa says, we understood the assignment. Good. Nice slang, Napa. I remember that from our slang lesson. So I think you guys understand subject, verb, object. That is the whole lesson. That is the key. And that is why this formula is so important. If you learn S+V+O, you're going to understand so many things and you're going to understand why sometimes you can't move things. Sometimes things don't change because the order and these formulas are really important. And many times, you see, they don't change so much. So if you want to talk in the past, you just change the verb. You don't change the subject. You don't change the object. The only thing you change is the verb if you want to speak in the past or in the present perfect or whatever. So this formula is actually super, 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 super helpful for many, many, many questions. Okay. Now, here comes the tricky part because, of course, these are short, simple sentences, right? The problem is that sometimes an object is not just one word, okay? Sometimes it can be a little bit more, okay? But always remember, the object is the complement of a sentence. It is what gives it, let's say, what receives the action, what explains the action. Subject and verb never change. They never change in order. They never change in formula. Never. Subject has to be a noun. Verb obviously has to be a verb. and they always go in this order. Object can be many different things, right? Depending on the sentence. It can be an object, it can be another noun, like a thing that receives the action, right? Or it can be another type of thing, like a verb. I'll explain that in a moment. But that's the main thing, okay? That subject and verb are really, really easy to identify, and they never change. All right, that's really, 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 really important. So always this S-V-O. Okay. Any questions here? Because I'm hearing a lot of silence. So do any of you guys have any questions? Napa says the receiver. Yes. The thing that receives the action, basically, or explains. Okay. That is why this formula is very important and very useful in sentences that are even a little bit more complex. So let's think of this sentence. Sam wanted to sleep. We're going to do the same exercise, you guys. What is the subject? In Sam wanted to sleep. Sam. Perfect, right? That's super easy. You guys understood the assignment. I think this is very simple. What about the verb? What is the verb? I think this will be very simple. Sylvia says sleep. Kalipan says wanted. Napa says wanted. Okay. I saw somebody say sleep, but the correct answer is want, because remember, this never changes. Never. The order cannot change. It's always S-V-O. So Kalipan says object is to sleep. Exactly. Right? Now, why is that? Isn't it two verbs? No. A sentence cannot have two verbs. Not like that, anyway. If you have questions on verbs, we have other videos, and we can definitely make a part 2 to explain why some sentences seem to have two verbs, but they don't. Not really. Sam wanted something. Oh, sorry, got blurred. Sam wanted something. You could say Sam wanted cake, or Sam wanted fruit, or Sam wanted a house, right? Sam wanted something. Napa says to sleep is the object. Yes. So what did he want? He wanted this. And that's why we say to sleep, because we're putting the verb in the, in the abstract infinitive form. We're not conjugating it or anything like that. He wants this, to sleep. Sam wanted to be a billionaire, says Kalipan. Excellent example. What did Sam want? To be a billionaire, right? So to be a billionaire is not exactly a second verb. No, it just describes the second idea of what he wanted. All right? Excellent. That is why sometimes the object can be very, very long, and sometimes the object is a little bit like another sentence. Okay? Something like this. We can have subject, verb, and then we have another little sentence that complements our original idea. These are called clauses. Okay? We remembered we had to bring eggs. So we remembered we is the subject. Remembered is the verb. And all of this is the object. And of course, it's because in this case, it's a whole nother little sentence. We, a little subject, had, and then another little object. You see? But it always follows this order. S-V-O, and that can be another S+V+O, and that can be again and again and again and again and again. And that's why some words can be, some sentences can be very long, very complicated. But I know that this is a little bit more difficult. I know that this may be a little bit confusing. And if you guys want, we can make a part 2 of this video. But that is the main lesson you guys have to understand. Order matters in English. Order definitely matters. And order is what gives meaning in our language. Without it, it can be very confusing. So even in long, complicated sentences, we have this same structure, S+V+O, S+V+O, and that can continue and continue and continue, okay? Excellent. So guys, that is the end of today's lesson, okay? Kalipan says, being an English teacher is super hard because you should know all about it. Yep. We do have to know a lot of things. We have to explain a lot of things. But did you guys understand? Did you guys like this lesson? Remember, we're checking out this new scheduling option just to make sure that we have more live classes for you guys. You can participate and that you can, you know, join the conversation and have some free classes. Kalipan says, next class is with my friend Tutor Molly. Yes, she is a fantastic tutor. So be sure to tune in next time with Tutor Molly. Thank you all for this lesson. Thank you all for participating. Thank you all for everything. Remember, guys, please like and share. It really helps us out a lot. It makes, it lets us know that, you know, we're doing a good job and that we can keep making these lessons. So I always love them. I hope you love them too. It was a pleasure teaching this guys to you, teaching this to you guys, sorry. And we will see each other hopefully very soon. Okay. So guys, take care. See you, everyone. Remember that if you missed a part of this lesson, or if you just want to rewatch it, you can check it out on our YouTube channel and also check out our social media. Be sure to follow and subscribe everywhere you can. All right. Oh, and by the way, guys, I'm so sorry. I forgot to mention the promo code GOLIVE, okay? If you are not yet a student of Cambly, be sure to join, okay? This is a promo code that will give you up to 36% off on your plan, depending, like I said, if you're a new tutor, if you're a new student, if you don't have a plan with us yet. But if you don't, really be sure to join. As you can see, it's very useful. It's very productive. You can have conversations with tutors from around the globe. There are literally thousands of different options to choose from, including me. I'm a super tutor on Cambly, so you can make a reservation with me and talk with me individually so that I can answer all of your questions, every single question that you have individually, and you get me all to yourself for half an hour or an hour, depending on your plan, okay? We all love to talk to you. So hope to see you there on Cambly. Use that promo code, like, share, and subscribe. And see you all guys next time. Okay? Excellent. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye. Take care. See you. See you, everyone. Thank you, Andrew. Thanks a lot to you. Thank you, Kalipan. Thank you, Napa. Both of you, as always. Thank you, Sylvia. Sylvia, you can just search for my name. My name is Cuau. You can actually also click on the link below. But the way that you can find me on Cambly is Tutor Cuau. That's my name. And you can just put it in the search bar on Cambly and I'll appear. If not, you can just use the link in the description. All right. So search for me on Cambly and we can have classes. Okay. I am sure that I'm the only one with that name, so I don't think you're going to be confused. So take care of yourselves, guys, okay? Take care. Bye-bye. See you soon, and see you next time. Excellent. See you guys. Take care. Thank you. Bye.